Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz, and we are here fresh in update 7.0 of World of Tanks Blitz. This is the first day the patch, the new update has come out. As you can see, World of Tanks Blitz here is getting ready for its 6-year anniversary now. And so of course, to start off this new update with the British light tanks and some balance changes, and also finally getting actual damage implemented on the tank, we are going to do a review of the of the SU-85 because why the hell not? So yes, the SU-85 is the Tier 5 Russian tank destroyer. I think it's the only Russian Tier 5 tank destroyer. I don't think there's a turret version. No, there isn't. Don't know why I had to check that. I mean, when's the last time it's been updated, the Russian tech tree? But yeah, so Tier 5 Russian tank destroyer. And so yeah, let's jump into it. So starting off, it has got, what, 570 HP? 590 HP, sorry. Which, in comparison to the Wolverine, turreted tank destroyer, 604 with improved assembly, which gives it a 34 extra HP. So this thing's got about 570 HP. Something like the Angry Connor has got 636, which is pretty high for a tank destroyer, again with improved assembly. Let's look at the other SU-85 in the Russian tech tree, the premium 85i with improved assembly has got 710. We take away the 710, goes down by 40, so that's got, what, 600 and something, which, is a fair amount. So having 590, if you add on to improved assembly, 625, I mean, it's not the least amount of HP for a Tier 5 tank destroyer. Something like the 82 has got 600. Yeah, the British tank destroyers usually do have a decent amount of HP. 570 for the Nightmare, so it's not overly the most HP for a tank destroyer at this tier. However, it's not the least amount either. However, that being said, it's still not particularly high. You will die in 3 to 4 shots to anything with a big caliber gun, like a KV-1 or a T1 Heavy, for example. As for the armour, 45, 45, 40, it's really not that great. Yes, it is sloped, and yes, you can bounce lower caliber shells or lower penetration shells, something like the Easy 4 Sherman with that 106 millimeters of AP. If you've got this thing on a ridgeline or it hits you at an angle, you will bounce the shell. However, it's not as reliable as something like a side scraping T-34 because the T-34 has got a turret, you can side scrape this thing properly. The SU, of course, has got a fixed gun, so you can't really side scrape it that effectively, which sort of limits you in terms of it all. So yeah, really the armor is not that great. You will be penetrated pretty often, especially sides and rear. Like I said, you can get bounces. It is, after all, T-34 hull. However, because the actual casemate here is not actually that sloped in comparison to the hull, here you can see the original T-34 sloping on the hull, and then you go to the casemate, and as you can see, that's a lot less of a steep angle. So yeah, there's not as much effective sloping there. So you're getting about 55, maybe 60 mils of side armour there, which is, yeah, that's not that great for side scraping or bouncing any sorts of shots. The same with the front as well. So yeah, it's not that great. Mobility, however, it's pretty mobile. 502 horsepower engine with the upgraded engine. Engine accelerator. So it does get slightly better engine power for that. So yeah, 16.6 power to weight. Otherwise, it's about just under 16 without engine accelerator. 30 kilometers per hour average speed. 45 degrees hull reverse. That's not too bad in comparison to something like the T-34, for example, which is a medium tank. That's got a 49 degrees turret. 56 degrees hull, but with a weaker engine. But it does have a slightly worse horsepower power to weight ratio, but it does still have 32 kilometers per hour top speed, so it's slightly worse in terms of mobility than a T-34, which is actually pretty mobile in comparison to something like the SU-85I, which has got a far worse horsepower engine, worse horsepower per ton ratio, but a better hull traverse, and the same average speed, and the armour as well is better at the front technically, but worse at the sides. So you know, it compares pretty well for a medium. In comparison to a medium tank, it is a pretty mobile tank. Obviously, you are limited by the lack of a turret in any capacity, which does hamper you in terms of being able to use that mobility, because at the end of the day, if you have got a Leopard going around your sides and rears, there's nothing you can do. It doesn't matter how fast you traverse if you can't get that gun on them. So, talking of the gun, the stock gun is absolutely terrible. 0.41 dispersion for a tank destroyer, with only 130 average pen and 150 average damage for an 85mm gun. An 85mm gun does less average damage than a 75mm gun. It's got 10 extra calibers, but for 10 worse average damage. The stock gun is absolutely terrible. In every regard, so the upgraded gun is definitely the way to go. I mean, you know, that's why it's called the upgraded gun. And exactly how better is it? 0.32 accuracy. Reload time has been cut by about half a second. It's a 7.49 second reload. Better average pen, 144 with AP, 194 with APCR, and 44 with HE. Finally, 200 average damage for an actual 85mm gun. It gets actual 85mm damage. 200 average damage. 170 for APCR and 300 for HE. 6 degrees of gun depression. Or sorry, no, that's not gun depression. That's the traverse limit. 25 and 6. No, that is actually, no, sorry, that is gun depression. 6 degrees of gun depression. I was just thinking turn limit as in the actual arc cone of fire, but no, that's not it. Actual cone of arc is 15 either way. There you go. Gun traverse limit left, right, 15 and 15. So yeah, 6 degrees of gun depression, which it's not that great. It is one. Put it this way. That's 1 more degrees than the Type T-34 gets, and the Type T-34 really struggles working any sort of ridgeline, so that's sort of what you're going for. That's sort of what you're getting, rather, with an SU-85. Gun depression, yeah, not that great. 15 degrees of gun traverse either way, though. Yeah, that's pretty good in comparison to something like the Nightmare, for example, the most recent Halloween tank given out to everyone that fires heat, which has got 11 and 11. Yeah. In comparison to the SU-85I, the premium, 10 and 10. And let's just compare it to the actual Stug 3. Well, actually, yes, the Americans don't have one at this tier. Yeah, in comparison to, where is it? There you go. The Stug 3, which has got 15 and 15. So you got the same traverse as the Stug, which yeah, that's pretty decent traverse. I mean, the aim time is still terrible, 5 seconds of aim time, but 0.32 accuracy is very accurate. And you can kind of track targets. The only problem is when you do have to move that hull and you get that whole 5 seconds of aim time back. Oh boy, that yeah, that's a lot of aim time. It is not fun to go around with that sort of aim time. But otherwise, yeah, upgraded gun is pretty solid. So yeah, that's the overall stats of the tank. It's pretty mobile. It doesn't have any sort of armour. It's got a pretty weak amount of HP, but it has got a decent 85mm gun on. You know, 200 down for damage at this tier is pretty high, considering everything else in my lineup here, other than the KV-1 has got a 75 or lower mil gun, except for the Nightmare, which has got 105. But still, yeah, you know, very good average damage and very good damage for the tier, making it a pretty decent tank destroyer if people let themselves sit in your sights, I should say. As for consumables, of course, got your standard repair, first aid, fire, engine power boost, 20% engine power for 15 seconds. You've got your adrenaline, 20% low speed, 10% chance of damaging enemy vehicle modules, 15 seconds. And then you've got your multi-purpose, which is those three rolled into one. You can go ahead and mount them as you want. Nothing much to say there. You've of course got your standard fuel for 3% engine power and turret traverse. You've got condensed milk for 3% gear crew mastery. And then you've got your protective kit, which is all that lot. So you can go ahead and mount 2 out of the 3 as you want. It's only at tier 6 and above that you get the 3rd slot unlocked. As for ammo, you do carry 38 rounds of 85mm, which is it's decent enough. You can go ahead, mount them as you wish. You're probably not going to run out of ammo with this thing. It's still got a pretty long reload time of 7.5 seconds, which that's slower than most of the medium tanks actually. Most of the medium tanks reload in about 7 seconds at this tier, whereas this thing rode 7.5. So yeah, you're probably not going to run out of ammo in this thing, so you can go ahead and mount your ammo as you want. As for equipment, you're going to want gun rammer for the extra for the decrease in reload time, gets you down to below 8 seconds. You could go calibrated shells, but honestly you do have decent, 144 average pen. Yeah, it's pretty decent. I mean at this tier 125 is about the average. You look at what has that. You got the Churchill has that sort of pen. What is it? The Wolverine has got the same or lower pen. The Churchill has it. The T-34 has that pen, but otherwise everything else is about 110 average pen. Which is having 144 average pen at this tier is pretty good. It will get you through a lot of tanks at this tier. So I would say gun rammer is better for that. Improved modules, decrease the chance of your track getting blown off. I mean, your track gets blown off and people get around you, you are dead. So always good to have that extra track durability. You could go either coated optics or Camonet. Camonet actually might be the better idea for this tank because it works very well as a keep hidden tank destroyer, a sniper. It's got very good accuracy if the aim time is a bit terrible. So yeah, I'd say Camonet. Enhanced gun lane drive, definitely get that aim time down to below 5 seconds, to 5 seconds, otherwise it's a 5.5 second aim time, so definitely go enhanced gun lane drive. Then I'd say improved assembly for the extra HP. You might be tempted to go with the enhanced armour because it is sloped to a degree, however that's really not going to help. Improved assembly will definitely help out your survivability in the long run. Engine accelerator, increase your power to weight, gives you a whole extra 1 horsepower per ton ratio. So yeah, you've got a 15.5 power to weight ratio otherwise, and it also gets that average speed up to 30. Also gives you that buff to the hull traverse. And then, I don't know, you don't really need refined guns, so maybe vert stabs. Vert stabs might actually be the better idea on this tank, even though you're probably not going to be firing on the move. However, during hull traverse, it's definitely going to be useful, especially for when you have finished turning and you go back to aim in. It will help. Everything will help with your aim time for that. So definitely go with vert stabs, and then your choice of really these two. I mean, enhanced tracks is always good, but at the same time you might want toolbox. Really, it's not like the mouse where enhanced tracks is definitely the better option. In this case, it's really whatever you want and your choice of whatever the hell those two things are. So overall, the SU-85, it's a fun enough tank destroyer. I don't have the best luck in it, and because I was playing this thing with the stock gun, because I was playing it with that, I do not have fond memories of playing this thing, even with the upgraded gun. That aim time is killer, I do have to admit. I am not fond of the aim time whatsoever. However, in the right position, it can be a very dangerous tank with very good alpha damage and decent pen for the tier. The only thing that beats it in terms of penetration at this tier for certain is the Angry Connor with that 17 pounder with 171 average pen? Yeah, it is. It's a full 17 pounder 171 pen. That's the only thing that beats it out in terms of pen at this tier. Otherwise, you're definitely one of the highest hitters and highest penetrating tanks of the tier, which is nothing to laugh at. So yeah, there you go, SU-85. I'll thank you all for watching, and goodbye.